Hi Katherine, it's Gary Cripps here in Manchester. Great to meet you in this virtual space. Just want to say Happy New Year to you and the team. This feels like doing an audition tape for a movie, except the only audience I've got here in Manchester is the dog here in the basket. I think she's given me the paws up, which is good. So down to business with the three questions that have been posed. Firstly, why this role? What's the attraction? And then why Sintetica? For me, it's a real privilege to join an organisation in a brand new role. What I've always really loved in my career is being able to take a new role, to shape it, to build a really strong team, have common goals, to deliver on those really important commercial goals, but to celebrate the successes along the way. And I think underpinning everything is bringing your leadership to the table. So for me, what I stand for, what's important, and also that encouragement for people to be creative, enjoy the jobs that they actually do. One of my best experiences was working as a national manager for a previous company, launching a new hepatitis C medicine. It was really motivating to build the team, a mix of hospital representative and market access managers, to develop a really strong strategic plan to look at what our customers needed, but also underpinning everything is how the individuals in the team were going to be able to develop within their roles, but also to get the most job satisfaction. I really love being at the coalface with the teams, being in front of customers, listening to them, dealing with their object, being able to understand what difference this product was going to make and how we, the team, could support them in whatever type of service. And then the follow-up around the patient feedback as well. So being part of something big, being able to shape something is really important to me. And I'd really love the opportunity to join Sintetica as your National Sales and Development Manager. So why the organisation? What's really struck me most about the company and the research I've done is that your value proposition, the fact that respect is the cornerstone, is central to everything you do. And within that value proposition, three clear directions. So it's employees, it's the patients who use the medicines or receive the medicines, but also how you demonstrate your strong partnerships as well, whether it's with healthcare professionals or whether it's with suppliers. And respect and integrity are really important to me. In all the companies I've worked for, that's been one of the critical components that I feel proud about working for the organisation, and I feel proud in front of customers as well, talking about the products, knowing what we've done to bring the products to market. What's also struck me about the company and what I really love is the fact you put people at the heart of everything you do. I've read through your code of ethics. I really understand what the company's about and what's important in terms of that professionalism and that respect internally and also externally. And I like the plan agreement as well. I think having three key components around education, family and social, cultural is critical. Many companies talk about a great place to work. I think you've really backed that up with strong evidence. In your last engagement survey, 95% of people want to work for Sintetica, and I think that's a really important driver for me, what people currently think about the business, and also externally as well, what the company's doing from an innovation point of view, stuff around the one-day surgery and being able to support patients to have procedures, but also manage the health economic outcomes as well. The fact that your CEO has just been nominated Global Pharmaceuticals CEO for 2020, and what that epitomises to me is that outside of the industry, Sintetica is respected for its innovation to medicines, the fact that you have this human-centric organisation which is backed up by the way you support people, and also what you've done, which I think is something really to be proud of, making sure demand is met for your intensive care drugs at a really critical period in Britain and internationally with COVID-19. And finally, the whole focus around sustainability and social value. I work as a trustee for a Manchester-based charity. We help disadvantaged adults. And one of our key challenges is how we measure our social value, how we measure the impact. And I think some really great examples on the Sintetica website about what you're doing from an environmental perspective, whether it's reducing your carbon emissions and the fact that materials are fully recyclable, but also sustainable anaesthesia as well, and the recent article in the Times. So I think there's a lot which draws me to the organisation and ticks a lot of boxes, and I think the role in the company is something that I really want to be part of. In terms of the second question, COVID-19 has brought lots of challenges for people. I've been lucky, I've had a sort of hybrid role, working in the field, working in the office. But what I've seen with my team is a real struggle to work that balance. I was leading a digital team from January 2019. We'd set our really strong performance goals, we'd built a strong team culture, then COVID-19 hit. And for me, in terms of practices, how could I replicate the creativity, the collaboration, the way we work together in a team's environment in this virtual first space, and also allow people to make that transition. So some of the things I brought into place in terms of my practices were setting up a daily stand-up meeting, which gave people opportunity to talk about what they'd done the day before, what they were doing on that particular day, and where they needed help. So it's an agile way of working, but it's that interconnectivity, so people really understood what their contribution was making to the team. We had a weekly team meeting where people could talk about the week that had gone. We'd do the look ahead, we'd do our tracking against our performance goals. And then on a 2 weekly basis, I brought in a happy hour. So at the end of the team meeting on a Friday, we'd all have a drink together, coffee, tea, wine, beer. But what was important to me is that was not a work environment. It's a chance for people to sit down, relax, to share what was happening outside of work, and also for me to encourage people to share their learnings as well. Big challenges for people with homeschooling, big challenges for people with elderly parents. But this was a chance to sort of sit down in a virtual world and just share what we were doing. From a performance point of view, I had a really critical objective to deliver with the team in terms of the launch plan for a new digital therapeutic, which was a mobile phone app for major depressive disorder. And my team was fundamental in terms of building this launch plan to enable us to hit the target of a successful launch in 2022. We didn't have the experience in terms of launching a digital therapeutic. We're great at launching medicines, but not digital therapeutics. So I decided that we needed an agency to come in and support us. The team wanted to get the proposals in by agencies and then just shortlist. So I worked really hard with the team to say, listen, look what's working for us in terms of teams, the interactions we have, the rules of engagement that we've built up and agreed between us. So being on camera in meetings, being professional with the agenda, being respectful of each other, turning up for work in the right attire. Right at the beginning, I'd had one person who decided to do his team's call from sat in his bed with a bowl of Kellogg's, which would be great the weekend. So I'd have a word in his ear and said, listen, this is about, at home, really important to putting on your work head and coming to work and really being focused on what we needed to deliver. Anyway, the team agreed and we did 5 pitches virtually, which was fantastic because it enabled us to see the whites of the eyes of the agency. And as you know yourself, communication is critical, and it's that old adage of the figures: 7% the words, 38% tone, and 55% body language, which I'm sure you're measuring for me now as I'm speaking. But the team agreed actually to see the agencies, to see who they'd be working with was really critical. And because we built up these rules of engagement and I'd really worked with the team to get these practices in place, the pictures were really professional. We got what we wanted. We shortlisted 2 companies, and then out of that we brought 1 business partner on board to help us really understand the compliance needed to bring in a digital therapeutic. And I really love working with the team from that perspective because we had a real positive outcome. So the final question is around COVID-19 and some of the biggest challenges it's brought for people. I think there's a whole spectrum for people in terms of dealing with COVID-19. The example I've got is I was leading a project team to manage the implementation of the new medical device regulation. It was critical to the business because we had in-market devices already. Set up a cross-functional team very quickly, all virtual again. And one of the critical components was having a really clear roles and responsibilities, a governance structure, and then executive sponsors. What was what was clear to me from the beginning, the regulatory manager, who was pivotal, as you can imagine, to everything, didn't seem connected. On occasion, he was turning up late for meetings or cancelling them 10 minutes before, and he wasn't delivering on the commitments. And that was a big issue for me, because that was impacting on the rest of the team and also delaying some of the timings. So I very, very quickly acted. In terms of actions, I had an informal meeting with him, trying to understand what the blockages were for him, but importantly to help him understand the impact he was having, and looking at where I could actually support, what support he would need in order to be able to deliver on time, in order not to delay the project. One thing we agreed which would be good would be a responsibility matrix. That's a RACI, so it's responsible, accountable, consulted and informed. And he really bought into that to be able to position what his key priorities were. We also brought into play using Teams in a different way, so not just a virtual space. Everything was held from the project perspective, but using it to be able to prompt him when key items were needing to be delivered. He did say there were challenges with workload, but that could be managed. So I went away with the feeling that he really understood the importance of delivering on time for the project and supporting his colleagues to do their bit as well to make sure we achieved our goals. I asked him to present the RACI to the team the following week and document exactly what he was going to do differently. Disappointingly, he didn't do that. So I acted quickly. I had an informal conversation with his boss, who was also the project sponsor. So that made it easier to some extent. What transpired was one of the guy's colleagues had left the company suddenly due to pressures at home with COVID-19, and he was having to take on more work, and also one of his children was ill. And I was really shocked, I must admit, that this was happening for this guy, and he hadn't felt comfortable to be able to come and talk to me, and I guess be honest and trust me. What I agreed with his boss, we'd have a quick follow-up meeting, which we did the next day. We got everything out on the table. We offered him the chance to have a contract to which he agreed 3 days a week to support him, so he could focus on my project, which was for a specific period. And also looking at other areas, if he couldn't make a meeting due to home commitments, somebody who could deputise, so pretty standard stuff. He said to me he was really sorry he'd not been able to deliver to the standard he would normally do. He was sorry he'd let me down. I just said to him, listen, we're all in the same boat. We all need to support each other. We're all aiming and leading for the same thing. And I want to make sure when he's at work, he's enjoying what he's doing and he feels supported. What was really great to see, the following week, he presented the RACI. He was really committed. He delivered what he needed to. And he got some really great feedback from the team about how important it was, his role, and it was great to see him back performing at a level everyone expected. What I actually learned was that you do need to take a step back. You do need to try and understand and connect with somebody on that personal basis to understand what's happening outside of work as well, because this was the case. And I think for me, the learn is to be flexible in my thinking and not to prejudge situations. Work is important, but if people are coming to work and they've got stuff that is happening, you need to help them, you need to support them. And this was a really great place where I suppose my leadership in the past had come into place, but also that I'm continually learning, and that's about continuous improvement for me. So that was the challenge faced and overcome, and the project was a fantastic success. So it's been great to talk to you today from Manchester. I really look forward to exploring the National Sales and Development Manager more with you. I'd love to join you at Sintetica and bring all the experiences, both in work and also from the volunteering that I do outside of work as well. And I really look forward to meeting you soon. So take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.